This is a video from the Clock Project. The impact of climate change on the spatial distribution of fishery resources is a reality. In general, fish are moving towards the poles and to deeper waters. For tropical tunas, the ecological changes that are expected in the future vary across species and ocean regions. For example, in the Pacific Ocean, a decrease in abundance of big-eye tuna is expected by the end of the century. In the Atlantic, models predict an increase in yellowfin tuna abundance biomass with a southeastward shift. And in all oceans, there will be a generalized compression of the vertical suitable habitat for the yellowfin, skipjack, and big-eye tuna. These ecological changes impact the fishing activity of purse seiners targeting tunas. In a recent study, we analysed for the first time how purse seine fishing effort in the Atlantic has been distributed in relation to climate change. We used data on purse seine fishing hours in the East Atlantic from 1991 to 2017, and the most relevant results were: climate change displaces the fishing effort. Where warming waters are observed, there seems to be a parallel trend for fishing activity to shift polewards, with displacements between 5 and 10 degrees. The distribution of fishing activity is strongly influenced by other factors, such as management decisions, quotas, time area closures, fishing agreements, and technology, proportion of catches on fish aggravating devices. These factors can influence how fishers spatially allocate their fishing effort, which may counteract the impact of climate change on the purse seine fleet. Adaptation. The tuna purse seine freezer sector is currently facing the impacts of climate change and is considering adaptation measures at various levels, organizational and individual. At the levels of organizations in the Atlantic, we directed a questionnaire in 2019 to the fishing industry with its companies and associations, Basque freezer tuna sector, governmental organizations, non-governmental organizations, and research institutions. We asked these institutions and organizations what climate change adaptation actions they are currently carrying out and which adaptation actions they plan for the future. Among the 35 actions identified in the scientific literature, plus 9 additional ones identified by the organizations, 45% of the actions, 20 actions, are carried out by all of them, and half of them, 10, are carried out by the fishing industry. Together, they have planned 6 additional actions for the coming years. Nevertheless, although the actions are positive for adaptation, almost all of them have been designed without thinking about climate change. On the other hand, the strategies considered most relevant to favour the adaptation of the sector while maintaining suitable fisheries are: participating in international, national and local forums, assessing the state of the resource through good science and advice from tuna fishery experts, ensuring good quality governance, establishing connections with other actors in the sector. 23 organizations in the Basque Atlantic freezer tuna sector reported that they communicate more than once in a month with other fellows on the fisheries issues. In fact, the most contacted organizations, 2 industry organizations, 2 governmental organizations, and 1 research institution, work as main communication nodes. This existing network offers the possibility to guide adaptation measures by promoting the connection with fishing industry organizations that have a comprehensive vision on adaptation, coordinating joint adaptation actions through organizations that act as communication centers, research agencies and industry. At the individual level in 2019 to 2020, we surveyed skippers of the Spanish freezer tuna sector that fish in the Atlantic, Indian and Pacific Oceans. Most skippers have taken adaptive actions in the past, for example, expanding their fishing area or using new technologies to locate fish. Skippers would be willing to take adaptive measures up to 30% decrease in their catches, but if their catches were to decrease by more than 30%, they are divided into 2 groups. Skippers who would prefer to adapt take action while keeping their current job, such as changing fishing technology. Employers who would prefer to transform, e.g. fish in another ocean, change jobs in the fishing sector, or leave the sector. The former have been in their job for fewer years, the latter more. The former give more importance to intergenerational knowledge, the latter less. The former perceive changes in tuna abundance, and the latter do not. Final message. The tuna freezer sector is changing its fishing activity due to the impact of climate change, with evidences indicating that this is an adaptive system. However, adaptation measures are not being planned at the organizational level, and skippers can respond adaptively or transformatively. There is potential for adaptation planning that will be key to addressing the impact of climate change.